Just a second, Mike. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of the African American Athlete. I'm Ricky Hampton with my friend and frat brother, Michael Robinson, coming to you on a Sunday evening. As Mike was saying off the air, Super Bowl special. Uh, it was a Super Bowl, Mike, but I don't know how special it was, man. I guess it's special if you're a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the final score was 40-22. I don't know if it's Kansas City managed another late score, but a totally dominant performance on
Right,
the part of the Philadelphia Eagles tonight.
right. And the score is still not indicative of how lopsided it really was.
Right.
I mean, they were scoreless until late. I mean, Mahomes finally got a pass off, and then DeAndre Hopkins got in the mix. Kelsey still's a no-show. Kelsey was horrible this game. I don't know if he was distracted. I don't know if Taylor being booed threw his whole game off. And then, of course, we know who else was in the house. So that probably messed up Kansas City because they just look pathetic out there. I mean, not only were they going for a three-peat, but they were undefeated most of the season. And I actually got a chance to cover them when they played in Vegas. So I've seen this team, up close and personal. And they had some moments where they looked kind of mediocre, but you always thought they would turn it on once the playoffs comes, and they did. They beat everybody in the way, including Buffalo. And then you get to the Super Bowl, and it just started off bad. I mean, they won the coin flip. That's the only thing they won. And they deferred it. They deferred it. I said, you got to be careful with that. You got to make sure your defense is playing because this could be a disaster. Look, I was just saying that I did not know that's what was going to happen because even though Philly didn't score in that first drive, it just looked like they had all the momentum when you gave them the ball because this next drive they took care of business. And this is without their 2,000-yard runner doing anything really. This was
Yeah.
Hurts,
What
and I
I,
have an arm too.
I thought what they did, man, I thought their defensive line was just dominant. And Kansas City's offensive line had been an issue all year. And they really they made Mahomes look average. He threw a couple of
Exactly.
bad interceptions.
Pick six, that too.
He,
Pick six in the Super Bowl is tragic.
I think they sacked him 7 times, I believe.
Somewhere along there, yeah,
I
it
had
was.
him run. He was running for his life.
Yep.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. I mean, you gotta be happy for a guy like Jalen Hurts. He's never had anything given to him, Michael. You remember
Right.
what happened at Alabama?
Yep.
Uh, Tua came in the replacement championship game. He went out to Oklahoma, had a great season out there. I think he was runner up for the Heisman. He didn't win it, but
Yeah, he was run. Yeah, he was running up. Yep.
and actually played well the last time they won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Came up short, but if you listen to Philadelphia radio, they doubt him all the freaking time
Exactly.
up there.
Exactly.
So uh, I don't know what they're gonna say about him now. I thought he, I don't, I turned it off before they named the MVP. Uh,
If he doesn't get it, it's a robbery
yeah, I was gonna say,
Like Iguodala getting it over Steph or LeBron. So
yeah,
or Kawhi getting it for playing defense and keeping LeBron to a measly 38 points or something like that. So yeah, if they do some nonsense like that, or giving Josh Allen MVP when he wasn't even the top quarterback in the NFL. So every once in a while you get these voters that do some head scratchers, but yeah, he should win it, and he should stop a lot of naysayers. Because think about this though, since that game, Tua was like a hero, right? But
yeah,
then Tua ended up getting hurt at Alabama, whereas Justin or Jalen ended up going to another school. Then, like we said, a Heisman runner-up, so he still had the confidence. And then he goes to the NFL, and it's like, oh yeah, this guy's an average quarterback. Like a lot of these black quarterbacks at these schools like Oklahoma or Alabama, they're just like more option quarterbacks. So that's the thing he was under then. And then Tua had his his incidents with Flores, and then of course nobody had confidence in him. And then all of a sudden, he has his spiel where he says that Flores was really mean to him and all that. And then all of a sudden, he looked like he had a resurrection in his career. But look where he is now. Now he's in concussion protocol all the time, hasn't won anything. And Hurts, who got benched in that game, has been to 2 Super Bowls, won one, and was runner-up in another one. So, I mean, he could have absolutely given up on football at that moment. Where it's like, man, I'm in a championship game, national championship game. I got benched at halftime, and my replacement won that whole thing. So he lost all confidence at that moment, but now he can look back at that and laugh.
Yeah, I'm checking the wire here, Mike, because I turned the TV off when we went on the air.
That's a Kendrick Lamar. That's a Kendrick line. Turn the TV off.
Okay.
That's also part of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I saw some of his halftime. He was good. But getting back to Hurts, man, you got to be impressed with the way the guy carries himself. Seems to be a class act. I mean, the only thing I can think he ever done wrong was playing Omega, man. But
there you go.
We won't hold that against him. He at least he got the year right with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's still a Divine Nine guy, but he made that move just like Emmitt Smith and Jerry Rice went the other route with the Sigmas.
Yeah, it's all good, man. Just friendly joking. Right. But Mike, I tell you, it was just they were so in control. There was really
right.
If you wasn't at a Super Bowl party or something,
right?
You're probably doing some work around the house.
Exactly. No, I was sitting here watching this, and I was just sitting there like, of course, I was going to write a story for the AfricanAmericanAthlete.com. Everybody out there, I was going to write a story about Mahomes if he got the 3-peat, because that's an unprecedented thing. But I also left the caveat out. If he doesn't win, you still have a black quarterback win the Super Bowl. And now this adds to the number. Now it is 4. Yeah. Mahomes would have continued it, but been the only one with multiple ones, and also the only one to 3-peat. So that's why that was significant. But now Hurts makes it the 4th black quarterback to win. And once again, this is during Black History Month. So
that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, man.
Right. Well, listen to this though. If Lamar would have played better, and I actually put this on Facebook, if Lamar would have played better, it would have been a Final 4 of all black quarterbacks. But the whole Josh Allen campaign is like, oh, look, Josh Allen is doing all this with less. And then he's the second team all-pro quarterback, but yet he still wins the MVP. So once again, that's why I'm telling you that sometimes these awards is basically, there's a lot of bias going on there. One of the biggest ones is Emmanuel Acho on Fox, on FS1. He was just this whole time talking about how Josh is doing this with less. And then his whole thing has always been to attack Lamar about he's not really that good. Even though he has 2 MVPs, he's not really that good. So who he was voting for. So it's guys like that mess up something that we could have had as magical too. 3 MVPs for Lamar. Yeah, he hasn't won a Super Bowl, but neither is Josh.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. The Super Bowl's hard to come by, man. That is for sure. I'm still checking to see what has come down. But it was something else I was want to mention to you about this game. You may have covered, but what got me is how it was never really a contest tonight. And Philly was indeed the best team in NFL this year. They proved that. They started off 2-2. Once they got hot, they just kind of steamrolled people. And as you mentioned with Kansas City, I Mahomes magic bailed them out a couple of times. Other teams bailed them out. I think Denver had a kick block, missed a chip shot, field goal. So
Even the game I went to, they barely got the win because, and I asked Mahomes after the game. I said, "You guys are undefeated, but yet this team seems to always play you guys well." And then that's when he said that, because of the long rivalry between the Chiefs and the Raiders, that's the reason why they have pride. They're playing at home, blah 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 blah. But yeah, but some reason, even though the Raiders are horrible all year, they get up for that Kansas City game, and they actually beat them last year. And that was one of those pitfalls that they had last year. Remember, last year they looked worse during the regular season, but came back and won. But this time, it just, like I said, once they won the coin toss, and we were sitting there saying that, yeah, tails always pick tails. It was tails. They got it because they were the visiting team, which is always bizarre when you're in a neutral site. But yeah, they were the visiting team, and then they said, okay, we're going to defer. They did this automatically. We're going to defer you guys. We'll worry about it in the second half. Yeah, but you still got to play in the first half. You can't sit there and say, oh, man, we're going to have it perfectly set up because we're going to probably score right before half, and then we're going to get the ball right back. That's what you always want to do. You want to have that situation when you do defer. You want to be able to score before the half and then get the ball in the second half to either expand your lead or just blow the game open. But instead, they came out there, played great defense on Saquon right away, and got to stop that first drive. But then you did nothing on offense. You guys were absolutely pedestrian. So then all of a sudden now Philly scores, and then score again, field goal, and it's like, okay, our plan is not working. So maybe we're going to go into halftime, and then Mahomes magic is going to happen. They came right out there, and it was
it 24-0?
More just garbage.
24-0 at halftime, right?
Exactly, 24-0, and then
but
right away they jump right back on you.
I know what I was going to mention to you. You were talking about the quarterbacks. There could have been 4 black quarterbacks in the conference finals. There's no doubt now that the NFL, the black quarterback has arrived in the NFL. And not only that, if you ain't got one, you better go get one.
But Ricky,
let me take that back. That's not fair. You better have a quarterback who can bring some athleticism to the pocket. The way Hurts did tonight, he has some key runs to extend drives, and even Mahomes running for his life out there. You better be able to move around, and the teams that have that extra dimension are the teams that are successful. Because you said what you're wrong about Josh Allen. He's an athletic quarterback.
Right.
I mean, he can move. And I look at Buffalo has an athletic quarterback, Baltimore, Pittsburgh to a certain extent. Joe Burrow in Cincinnati moves around okay. He's not uber athletic. Houston has a guy that can move around. Kansas City, of course, Philly, Washington. I think the Bears got one now. All these guys I mentioned outside of Allen are black quarterbacks. Atlanta has one now that can move around. That's the new dimension to this game. And I look at it like not to this extent, Mike, but I look into where the league is going now to where the 3-point shot has gone in the NBA. Is the 3-point shot, as you know, is way down the road in the NBA. Because you remember back in the day, guys didn't shoot them unless they were behind. Now it's an integral part of the offense.
All right.
That's what I see with these black quarterbacks.
But let me push back a little bit. Even though that is the case, where we got a multitude now, it's something we couldn't even fathom back when we were younger. Like I said, Doug Williams, when it wasn't into 1988, I'm a junior in college at this time. So that shows you that that's not that long ago that had a dearth of black quarterbacks. Warren Moon has to go up to Canada. So, right. but still, you listen to a lot of these pundits, they are all making up all these excuses and apologies for why Josh should still win because, he has less. And I'm like, he had a star receiver, but when he kept turning the ball over, they were blaming the receiver for his mistakes. Well, he has to force it into him. So then when you don't have him, all of a sudden now I have no help. That's what I'm saying. You guys are talking in ridiculous circles, and also you're contradicting yourselves because you can't sit there and say that he doesn't have a star player, but then say the star player is the reason why he didn't play well. So then which way do you want to have it? So then you got Joe Burrow, who they keep making excuses for, but he loses, but they're like, no, but hey, he's been to the Super Bowl. So they still throw these guys, Joe Burrow and even our guy that used to be in Detroit all the time. And now they're talking about how he's one of the elite quarterbacks because he won with the Rams. So you still throw these guys as a higher echelon than the guys we mentioned. I mean, I see so many of these pundits on either ESPN or Fox that just kill Lamar. They say, well, yeah, he won the MVP. His stats were the best he's ever had. But, yeah, he can't do it in the playoffs. I'm like, so then what does that have to do with the regular season MVP award? Well, yeah, but it's different now because Josh just doesn't have any help. He has less, so just so many excuses they kept making. And it was like a lot of them that still wanted to hold on to the quarterback. The white quarterback is still the best in the league. They'll keep throwing Tom's name up as the GOAT just automatically. So even though, like you said, we could have had that quartet of 4 black quarterbacks, there was people that was so happy that Josh at least broke that up. And then even now in the Super Bowl, Mahomes would have done something that even Tom never did. And people are happy right now. There's people rejoicing right now because they didn't want to put Mahomes up there in that stratosphere. Even though another black quarterback won, but they could always shuffle Jalen off as, yeah, he'll have this kind of year, then he'll be mediocre next year. Or, he won't do this back-to-back in the Super Bowl. So I think they're more content. It's almost like when Ali was just so animated and all that. They wanted Joe Frazier to beat him because they looked at Joe as a more of a quiet, non-boisterous Negro as opposed to this loudmouth Negro that's also Muslim. So yeah, sometimes they'll do that. They'll look at it as the lesser of two evils. So yeah, I think they said, hey, it'd be better off if Jalen wins because now we can't put Mahomes above or even equal to Tom as of yet. So we still got our golden boy as this quarterback renaissance is happening.
So Jalen Hurts was named MVP, as we both figured. I don't know how you could not pick him. And just for the record, he was 17 of 22 for 222 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had an interception, but it was just like a punt. And he ran 11 times for 72 yards and also had a rushing touchdown. And what I like about his play tonight, Mike, he was poised, man. He was in full control of that team. And so congratulations to Jalen Hurts. I mean, Mike, I can't hear you, Mike.
No, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Oh?
Mike, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. You can hear me?
Okay, I got you now.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
lost
no,
you.
no, I was just agreeing with you. So yeah,
I
your
lost you for
soliloquy,
a second, but all good.
right. Your soliloquy was right on point. So yeah, you're right. I mean, all praises to Jalen. And like I said, there's no way I'll be sitting here, bemoaning that, oh man, I'm upset. No, we got another black quarterback. So once again, we can stomp this stereotype away. I'm sure Doug Williams is happy to see it. He would have loved to see his little younger understudy from Washington, the rookie, win it. But, I'm sure he's happy to see another black quarterback win, and also to uh, Mahomes up in this echelon too. So, I mean, we come a long way since 1988, and
Yeah,
definitely a long way since 1974 when our guy Joe Gilliam was benched, because we could have actually had this happen way back in the 70s, and maybe Warren Moon wouldn't have had that happen to him.
yeah.
Maybe Warren Moon wouldn't have had that happen to him if Joe would have got a chance to win those 4 Super Bowls instead of them throwing him out and then calling him a drug addict, and then Terry Bradshaw reap all the benefits. But I also trip out on how they sit there and say how, yeah, that Joe Montana, he was the original GOAT because he was 4-0 in the Super Bowl. I'm like, yeah, but technically speaking, so was Terry Bradshaw. But for some reason, they go by the stats with him. Say, well, his stats weren't that good, so that was different than Joe Montana going 4-0. And I said, they both 4-0. So you guys got to stop moving the goalposts and you want to make an argument about Michael 6-0 in the finals. But Tom Brady has losses. But he has the most. But then why isn't Bill Russell considered the greatest? He has the most championships. So that's what I'm saying, that when you sit there and have debates with people and stuff like that, it's best not to even do it, because they're going to always find some type of loophole to make their argument better and change the rules. You don't have any consistent, okay, this is what I look at as you being the best player of all time. Either you're the greatest in this major statistical category, like the leading rusher of all time, or you are the most points scored ever, or something like that. Or you go by, I got the most championships, but then again, that's a team award. So if somebody has the same many championships as you have, who consider the greatest? That's why some people are saying, well, Scotty should be ahead of LeBron James. He has 6 championships. I'm like, okay, then again, Robert Horry has 7. So do we say he's better than everybody else?
That's why I don't even broach it, man, because there's so many different ways you can go. You can go with that, and that's why it's so subjective. But we
Exactly.
do know Jalen Hurts got 1, and
Yep.
congrats to him. Hey, unless you got something else on the game, because really it's not much more to say than they got their ass.
Well, but what's going to happen right away is the odds are going to come out who's going to win next year. So I'll be interested to see how they play that. And then will people start now saying, hey, hold your brakes on Andy Reid being the greatest coach of all time, because they didn't get that 4th one. And the Belichick hate should now be come back. Like, okay, you guys basically, even though Belichick has the most Super Bowl wins of all time, now you want to say Andy Reid's better than him. But then when Tom Brady has the most wins, but you're not saying that Mahomes is better than him. So make it make sense and stop saying, okay, Andy Reid is the reason why Mahomes is winning, but Tom Brady was the reason why Belichick is winning. So once again, you get that too. So
Yeah,
people start to get shots at Andy Reid now.
it is a team game. You need all these guys to help you win.
Exactly.
You need everybody. Patrick Mahomes would have loved to have had a better offensive line tonight to help him win.
Not only tonight, Ricky, don't forget when they lost to Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, that
Yep.
line was compromised, and he had
Yep.
a bad heel or something like that. He was running for his life in that
You're
game.
absolutely right. You
So
you are absolutely right. Hey, let's jump over to the NBA right quick, because we got to abbreviate the show. We need to get off here by 11. Had a big trade. The big trade go down with Anthony Davis going from LA to Dallas, and wouldn't you know, Davis gets hurt. Mike, he didn't make it through one game. He
right.
goes down in the third quarter with some type of abdominal lower leg injury or something, and he's definitely out for the next game. And I just saw a piece where it said it could be multiple weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and as you and I both know, guy's a terrific player. But what's the best ability?
Availability. But here's the irony of that game.
Got that.
Here's the irony of that game. He had like 26 or something like that, double-digit rebounds. He had an explosive game up to that point. So that's the most frustrating about it, is that you see what you're getting, but then you're also seeing the other side what you're getting is that you might get a couple of these awesome games, like, oh man, this guy's a top 5 player, and then all of a sudden he's like Bubba Dub says, he's street clothes over here, showing off his suits every other game or whatever he's wearing. Because a lot of these younger cats now don't like to be dressed up in suits. I don't know why.
But Mike, the thing about Anthony is, I mean, dude's in the NBA. You know he's a terrific athlete, but he takes a lot of balls, man, to be such a good athlete. It's like he maybe needs to take some ballet lessons.
Wait, you want to know? But you want to know something though? Some players have these growth spurts and they don't catch up with their body, because he was a smaller guard.
Right, he was guard.
That's why he can handle the ball pretty well.
Right.
But then all of a sudden now, what you used to be able to do with shorter legs and all that, it's hard to do it like when you're more angular and then 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", whatever he is. So I don't know. Maybe it's one of those situations where the taller he got, the clumsier he got, because he does have great skills of scoring the ball, blocking shots, rebounding, and everything.
But you know what? You just said it. Clearly, he's a skilled guy, but that's the word for him. He's clumsy.
Right.
He's clumsy. He's awkward, and that, I think that leads to a lot of his problems staying healthy. So, he's out for a while. Luka's supposed to make his debut tomorrow, I believe, and it's going to be really interesting to see him paired with LeBron James. I texted you. I texted you a couple of times over the weekend. It's hard for me to stay up late because I have to get up early. But I watched LeBron. Well, actually, this was. They were home for one game, and I think they were back east for the other one, so I got to watch all that. This dude's right around like he's 25 years old, man. It is utterly remarkable what he's shooting the ball better than he's ever shot it.
Yeah.
Now, his IQ is off the charts, and he is still just dunking on people. He doesn't defend to the level that he wants. He kind of paces himself on defense. Later in the game, he can D up just like he used to. You can't get the whole full court. That's the only difference. Because when he came to the league, he was a lockdown defender too.
Well, but here's the thing though. Think about this. All these people that's been hating on him since 2003. I would say maybe 10 years from now, whenever he retires, 10 years from now, they'll be sitting there going like, man, you know what? We actually wasted a lot of time hating on this dude, but now that I look back on it, this dude was super duper awesome. But once again, I guess it's fun to be a hater now. I mean, and for some people, it makes them millions of dollars. Look at Skip Bayless. It made him millions of dollars to sit on here every day and say some ridiculous stuff about a guy that's probably the greatest player of all time.
Yeah.
So, and you could sit there and be stuck on with Michael, and and it's so. Of course, I'm at the age where I could be one of those ones just say, "Nah, man, it's Michael." I'm old school and all this stuff. But I just like to be realistic about it. I look at it like I can't sit there and diss Wilt because Wilt was dominating. Then when people would blow it off like, yeah, like Jake, like a guy that they gave a coaching job for the LA Lakers says, yeah, those guys are plumbers and what else they said, just demeaning their skills. Yeah. But yet these guys, against their peers, were absolutely dominating. You cannot say that, JJ Redick. Against your peers, you were mediocre at best. Yeah. So that's the thing that I always say. You got to put it in a relative perspective of what did you do against your peers? That's all you can compete against. I can't compete against a dude way in 2005 and I'm playing in the 50s. That's just ridiculous. But when me playing against the guys that had the same type of environment I did, I was the best of all of them. And that's what mattered. And
that's well said. But I will give JJ credit, man. He got that team playing well. And it looked like, Mike, they had poured off a great trade with Charlotte getting Mark Williams, averaged 16 points, 10 rebounds, just about 10 rebounds a game, and playing with Luka and LeBron. Bro, just keep your hands up because you open, they're going to find you. So you're going to probably add to that number. But the trade was rescinded. I believe yesterday, the Lakers announced that they're sending him back, that he has some injury issues that they don't want to deal with. So now they're without a center. And after winning, I think they won 8 out of their last 10. What do you do now? Jackson Hayes, he's a good athletic center, but he's kind of untested.
Well, but here's another thing. You have to, and this is what the Spurs went through with Sean Elliott. Remember, he was supposed to be traded to the Pistons, and somehow that trade got messed up. He had to come back. So now you got to soothe the ego of a rookie that thought he had carved a great niche with the Lakers. I mean, they were relying on him to hit these big shots, and he was playing really well as a rookie. So, will his psyche be messed up now? Will he come back there and be like, oh, man, you know what? I'll be glad when my rookie contract's up. I'm out of here, man. I don't like this.
Well, they go. I'm sure LeBron's gonna say, bro, this is the league that you in, and this is business, and his I don't see how he's gonna be much a part of the offense now with Luka there. His shots will certainly go down now with Luka there. What they got to do is find a big guy. Maybe they have to go to the buyout market and see what's out there. If they can get anybody serviceable, man, the way LeBron is playing, and it's going to be interesting because everybody always says that Luka is always out of shape, and think about it, he was out of shape last year and took a team to the final. If I'm Luka, I'm gonna do everything LeBron's doing. I'm like, look at it, because I was actually watching him on the bench the other night. They cut over to the bench, and when LeBron was going off, he was like, "Dude, I never saw it from this perspective. Now he's on my team." So hopefully, if he picks up on some of that, man, they got a chance to make some noise, man.
But as always, it's gonna come down to when you get to the playoffs, the game slows down, and you have to be able to play defense, and that's when it's gonna be the rubber hitting the road. Like, okay, now, yeah, somehow Dallas did make it to the finals, but if you really look at it, Minnesota melted down. Okay, OKC absolutely melted down, and even Shea had that bad foul to end that series. So I'm sure they want to respond to what they did. Denver, got embarrassed by Minnesota. So I think some of those Western teams still make it kind of difficult for the Lakers. And of course, that
But
year,
look at this. I mean, okay, let's look at this. I hear you, and you're absolutely right. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. My only point is with these young up and coming teams, you still don't know what you get. We just went through it here with the Lions in the playoffs. They
oh
were
yeah,
great. They got in the playoffs, had
yeah,
5 interceptions,
yeah,
lost at the crib. You
yeah.
don't know if they're ready for that next step. And that's what Oklahoma City had a really good team, but they hadn't done it yet.
Right.
Memphis, they're 35-17. Here's the way I look at it. I'm LeBron James. Oh, okay, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Denver, Houston. You think LeBron's scared to play against Houston in the playoffs? If the playoffs started today, the Lakers would play the Rockets in the first round. Do you think Luka and LeBron are scared to play the Rockets?
But but once again, though, you don't want to have a situation where Dallas had the year before, and even in the finals, when they said, "Okay, our whole offense is going to be pick and roll to get Luka in an isolation," and then all of a sudden now that affects his offense because he got himself in foul trouble, or the coach has to bench him because his dude is scoring on him every single time down the court. So unless Luka, I'm not expecting him to be Michael Cooper, but unless Luka makes it where they can't just, go at him. Even Steph had that happen to him, but Steph had enough help around him to not make that a bad thing. Even though in that final game 7, it did hurt them because that's the switch they made to get Kyrie on Steph, and he, had the biggest shot of his life and hit it. But overall, they still got 4 championships out of there with him being somewhat of defensive liability because of the team defense. And that's the thing that the Lakers haven't really had since the bubble. Because remember, that's when you had Rondo, who's always been a great defensive player, Dwight Howard, despite all the jokes, all the other nonsense that goes off the court, that dude was a stud in Orlando. And people forget that he had a major injury, a back injury and all that. So he was a shell of himself in LA, but he was playing great defense on
The Joker.
the Joker. And
Yeah.
that's who's been a Lakers nemesis ever since. The
Yeah.
Joker kills them, and Murray. They just killed. For some reason, people laugh at the Lakers. Oh, they're not that good. If you really look at it, the only team that stopped them from going to the championship after the bubble has been Denver. They just Denver has their number. Denver has their number.
But Denver still misses, believe it or not, they miss KCP and Bruce Brown, the defense they brought in the backcourt and on the wings. But of course, you're absolutely right. Dangerous team with the Joker and Murray. But what I'm saying, I don't think these teams, I think, put it like this, even though Oklahoma City's 42-9, they have 7.5 games. We'll see what happens with the playoffs because I still think it's wide open. It's a lot of good teams over there. And I even have the same question about Cleveland that I do with OKC. That Cleveland's up 5.5 games on Boston. I don't think Boston's scared to play Cleveland.
Right. Well, it's funny. What's funny is I actually, the one Warrior game I went to this year was against Cleveland, and I even asked Kenny Atkinson, their coach. I said, "Are you worried about?" Because they had the best record in the NBA around that time. He said, I asked him, I said, "Are you worried about your team peaking too early?" because they look almost invincible. But I didn't mention the 73 winning Warriors, but that's what everybody says about the Warriors. They have every excuse possible for them is that, yeah, they went for that record and it seemed like they wore them down when it came to the playoffs. And I just said, nah, you can't really say that, because they'd have won, then you wouldn't say that they were worn out and tired. It's just that they didn't get it done in the playoffs. They should have
That's
been
all.
eliminated.
They didn't get it done. Right.
Right. They should have been eliminated in the Western Conference Finals, but OKC choked. But nobody blames Durant for that, and he's the star player. It's all Westbrook's fault. And then, of course, when the Warriors lost a 3-1 lead, the refs cheated. So that's the thing that kills me is that they never have accountability. For when they lose, just like when they lost to Toronto. Oh, everybody was hurt. Yeah, but when you guys won, everybody was hurt, but you guys said, too bad, don't get over it. So that's the thing that kills me about this whole Warrior dynasty is that when they lose, they got excuses, but when they win by, other teams being hurt, things like that. Because if you go back and look at their track record, all their championships they won, some major injury happened along the way. Chris Paul in 18, Kawhi in 17, 15 is Kevin Love and Kyrie. So there you go.
Well,
21 they won, but Boston just seemed like they weren't ready to win it. R. Kelly's song wouldn't have been applicable for them in that finals. It didn't seem like they were ready.
One other thing. I guess it's not even big news now. Ben Simmons took a buyout and is headed to the Clippers. Man, what a nosedive his career is taking.
Yeah, and of course they will blame Doc Rivers for his downfall because remember when he didn't take that dunk or layup and passed it out and then passed it to another player, and then the player missed the shot because he got defended, whereas he had an open shot. And then I think because Doc didn't coddle him, all of a sudden they said, Doc's a terrible influence on Ben Simmons. And then Ben Simmons wanted to get out of there and all that stuff. So it's just been a disaster ever since that non-shot of his that I don't think he'll ever recover. I think he's going to be psychologically messed up rest of his career, however long that lasts. Because remember, his rookie year, he looked pretty good. He's getting rebounds, assists.
He made 3 All-Star teams, Mike.
That's what I'm saying. But once that big layup missed in the series with Philly, and then of course they thought that Embiid didn't really have his back, but then they thought that Doc really took a shot at him. And then next thing you know, he wants to get out of there. He ends up in Brooklyn, and this is a disaster now. So this is once again, this is going to be one of those careers you look back on years from now and say, dude, whatever happened to that dude from Australia, man, that was like considered like one of the best rookies ever. And whatever happened, boom, that's what it's going to be. And like when we tell players, people about how, man, you guys don't even know about Andrew Toney. That dude was the Boston Strangler. But who was that? Because he had the foot injuries. Nobody knows.
Right.
Brandon Roy. Brandon Roy was balling, and then injuries destroyed his career. People don't even know how good Sam Bowie really was. Sam Bowie was actually the second best big man coming out in 84. But injuries, he was injury prone in college, but it just got exacerbated when he got to
nothing like right.
Yeah.
Right.
Greg
Well, hey, man, we got to get out of here, Mike. I'm glad that was a great idea to do this. I figured we spend the whole hour talking about the game, but it wasn't much of a game. But congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. These guys are the champs. Big shout out to Jalen Hurts. Congratulations on winning the MVP. And happy for him. Historic, as you well know, Mike. So that's my final 2 cents on it.
All right. And mine is, as always, I look for other parts of this whole journey. So once again, I was absolutely on it when I said, man, if Lamar beats Josh, it'll be 4 black quarterbacks in the conference championships of each side. And that's unprecedented. And that shows a lot of progress. So these are the things we need to highlight instead of, some of this nonsense that we always, highlight of some of these players and they do these ridiculous off the field or off the court thing. So that right there was nostalgic. Well, would have been nostalgic, but even so, you got this matchup happening twice. So we've seen something we've never seen before. 2 black quarterbacks, the 2 same black quarterbacks going against each other in separate Super Bowls, and each one has a win. So once again, it does take a long time, but you have to pick and choose what you seem to highlight and what is deemed the important scenario.
Well, we're going to get out of here. For my friend and friend, brother Michael Robinson, I'm